Hello, I'm Scott Bogey here with Denis the Menace Frimpong ahead of his Octagon 71 fight against Arijan Topallaj, the Eagle. How are you feeling ahead of this upcoming fight?
Yeah, good. As you can see, I'm having a bit of ice cream. It's low calorie, right? Obviously fighting at catch weight, 74 kilos. So I've been a little bit, a bit more lax in my diet approach this time around. So
And
yeah,
does that make preparation just a little bit more easier, knowing that you're not having to focus solely on cutting the weight to get to the...
yeah, 100%. Like obviously most camps when you're going to 70 kilo, you're depleted. This time of the camp, you start feeling a bit miserable. To be honest, you start feeling a bit like like low on carbs, low on calories, but you're still training hard. Where now I've been going into all my sessions fully fueled, fully like loaded up, and I get to come in there nice and big and strong. And yeah, I'm gonna make him realize how big I am.
Exactly. And I've heard in some previous interviews that you did have with the face-to-face with the Eagle that you've already worked out how he's gonna fight in this fight. There's no game plan that you need to do. He's gonna come in aggressive. He's got a dart, so that's okay. He's got the strike. He thinks he's a better striker, but in the end, he's gonna shoot, and you'll be able to find the finish. Is that still how you see that fight playing out?
Um, but obviously, I've said that to him now, so I feel like having said
He'll
that to him now, he
he'll
might
mix it
try
up.
to change his approach a little bit. But at the end of the day, you do what you know how to do. And like obviously last year when I did the face to face with Callum Mullen, I said to him, all you do, you have a 1, 2, 3, and you go southpaw to throw a left body kick. He didn't throw a 1, 2, 3 the whole fight, and he
Yeah.
didn't throw a body kick. But when that's your best thing, if you're doing it a lot, it means it's probably what you're good at. It's what you're
Yeah.
sharp. So now you're not doing that. You're not doing what you're good at. So he's good. Aaron's good at blitzing in, and he's good at trying to put a dart on. He probably won't go for those now. He's probably going to try and be real composed, not blitz, play like the technical striking game with me, which is going to be his downfall. So who knows? Who knows?
And
Maybe he'll wrestle off the bat. Who knows? You know.
and is during those face-offs, is that kind of like you try to get into their opponent's heads, like you did with Connor, like you're saying you told him what he was going to do and he didn't do that. Is that just trying to get into their minds?
I think I was already in his head. That that face to face was just sort of help promote the fight, help sell the fight. It's a bit of like a verbal joust before the fight, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, I'm not too hung up on whatever happened at the face to face. End of the day, we're going to be in the cage in less than 2 weeks' time, and we're going to be trying to punch each other in the head. So whatever was said at the table is going to be completely irrelevant at that point.
Exactly. And do you feel like that's what, apart from your ability, that is another thing that comes with you as your package, is your ability to sell fights? Obviously, you have to have the ability to be able to go out there and do that, which you have been able to do. But do you feel like that is another thing that comes with it, is being able to sell the fights with your words and then proving it on fight night?
Yeah, I mean, you can be the best fighter in the world if you can't get people interested in your fights. Then it's kind of irrelevant if no one's watching. You might as well be having a fight in a car park somewhere. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The hardest man in the car park. Some Fight Club shit. So this isn't fight. You know, the rule isn't don't tell anyone about Fight Club. Do not talk about Fight Club. Tell everyone about your Fight Club. Tell everyone that you're fighting, what date you're fighting, and make sure they tune in to watch, regardless of whether they want to see you win or lose. But it seems to me like all these German fans want to see me win.
Yeah, I was going to say that Taito seems to have turned against him, and that's not for the first time either. You do like to get the crowd on the side, whether it's on purpose or whether it's not. They always just seem to come into your favor. Were you
Hmm.
surprised about that?
And usually I like to have the crowd against me, but it'd probably be nice to walk out to some cheers rather than booze this time. So who knows? This might be like the baby face turn of the century.
Well, TKO has taken over the UFC, so it's now time to have that babyface turn for Dennis. What would you prefer? You prefer having that heel role, or are you happy being that babyface?
I like being like a sort of anti-hero, like you know, you're the guy that people love to hate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
They hate you, but they still love you somehow. Yeah, I don't want to like yeah. No matter what, people are gonna hate you anyway. And if they like you could be the biggest baby face ever, and someone's gonna hate you. Do you know what I mean? So yeah,
exactly. It's just what happens with the nature of the sport. There always gonna be someone out there that finds one particular reason just to not like you. And is
exactly.
that where your mentality is? You know that that's gonna happen, so just embrace it.
Yeah, like I know, like Zlatan Ibrahimovic famously said before, I prefer to be the bad guy because at least then you know how people feel. You know, you know that people hate you then. Where when you're the good guy, you don't know do people actually like you or do they actually hate you? Like they can say they like you, but then behind closed doors, they're saying they can't wait for you to lose. So at least if they're all openly saying I can't wait for this guy to lose, and you keep proving them wrong, then you know where you stand. You know.
Exactly. And in your last fight, you were facing Robin Frank. What you were able to get the victory, but was there anything about his game plan which maybe surprised you in that fight?
Um, he had a nice little like turn the corner takedown. The little he hit me with it a couple of times in a fight. Usually the people don't hit the same thing on me twice in a fight. And he had a nice little takedown there. But other than that, like no, I wasn't shocked by anything. His kickboxing, which was his foundation martial art, was pretty basic. His grappling was pretty basic. Couldn't really do much. And I mean, that's a guy who's been training since he was 16. 10 years of training. He'd been over to Jackson Wink. He'd been over to American Top Team to do his camp. He
Yeah.
trained at, American Kickboxing Academy. He trained with John Jones and, going here, there, and everywhere. He trained at Renegade. Going here, there, and everywhere to train. Obviously, had someone bankrolling all this because I know for a fact that, the sport doesn't pay enough for him to be doing that at the stage he was at. So someone was obviously helping him out, bankrolling him, going training all these places, but it didn't help him. You know, at the same time, he was training in Jackson Wink in America, probably one of the best gyms in the world. I was sat up till 10 a.m. in someone's kitchen chatting shite. You know what I mean? So,
Exactly. And is there anyone that you're wanting to face after this fight? I'm gonna let you have your call out now.
um, there's a couple names. I don't really care who it is. To be honest, I want the ranked opponent, and it depends where OKTAGON want me to fight next. If they want me to fight in Germany next, I have a couple of guys I'd like to call out. If they want me to fight in the Czech Republic next, which I haven't fought in the Czech Republic yet, then I have a couple of guys I want to call out. But right now, my sole focus is on Arijan and next Saturday. So
And then obviously what you can now start to think about potentially, because you're now starting to have guys break through in the from the UK, could we see potentially Oddcom coming back here? I know they've had shows in Manchester before. We already have you doing well, Shem, you have George, you have Cartwright who was trying to face the title, you have Will Fleury who is the doubles champ. Could we maybe see a return here?
um, I'm not really too arsed about them coming back to the UK. As far as I know, the Republic of Ireland is not a part of the UK, but I would like to see them come to the Republic of Ireland. I'd like to see them go to Dublin, be able to fight on home soil. for the first time in the longest time. I haven't fought in Ireland since my amateur days. So, yeah, I would very much like for Octagon to go to Ireland, do a show in Dublin or in Belfast. And yeah, like you said, get me, Will, double champ, on there. They just signed Richie Smullen, I believe. So
Yeah.
there's a few other Irish guys as well that are looking to get signed that potentially could get signed. And I think we could put a nice card together and smash it in Ireland, to be honest.
Well, if they're wanting you to have that baby face turn, I think you might have to get some cheers back in Ireland.
100%. Listen, I'm selling tickets in Germany, so imagine how many I do in Ireland.
Exactly. And am I correct in saying that are you currently fighting our Manchester top team? I know you've done a wee bit with the Dublin Striking Academy, Combat Academy.
Yeah, obviously, that was my foundation gym where I started striking and I first fought out of, but I've not trained in Ireland in a long time. But I will always represent Dublin Combat Academy because they were my foundation style. But yes, I fight at Manchester top team. That's the gym I train in full time at the moment. And yeah,
And how has that been for your development? Because obviously it is one of the top teams coming out of the UK.
yeah, well, they call it Manchester top team for a reason. Yeah, obviously, Dublin Combat Academy gave me a foundation style of Muay Thai, gave me good kicks, good solid fundamentals when it comes to like using my legs, my knees, my elbows, and a bit of boxing. But obviously, being a Thai gym, I had to alter my style a little bit when I started training MMA, where I feel like Manchester, a top team, has given me the fundamentals of MMA striking, where my footwork has gotten better, just the fundamentals of MMA striking, and I was then able to incorporate my own style into that MMA striking style.
And what was it that brought you into the sport?
Love violence, just love the scrap. Obviously Conor McGregor was a big influence. God rest his soul. Um, you know, I believe Conor McGregor died in 2016. To be honest, that was the Conor that I watched him. I was like, yeah, that's sick that he was able to do that. An Irishman was able to do that. So he was a big inspiration in that respect. Obviously, your Anderson Silvas and John Joneses before that. But yeah, just always loved MMA. Always loved watching it. Loved WWE back in the day, way back in the day when I was a kid. And MMA to me was just like real WWE. Obviously when everyone found out WWE was fake, and it was like, well,
Yeah.
MMA is real. And yeah, it just sort of fell into martial arts then. Decided like I want to do this because I'm pretty good at it naturally. So
So what was your reaction when you found out people like Brock Lesnar, who did both the WWE as well as the UFC?
yeah, I mean, Brock Lesnar's just a freak, isn't he? Like he's a unique individual. Obviously, we saw the failure of CM Punk trying to transition over as well. But Brock Lesnar has legit wrestling, like he's been wrestling at a high level since before he was a professional wrestler in WWE. And like I said, he's a monstrosity. So he was able to just come in and do his thing. I also think MMA was very different back then. Like I don't think he would have been able to do that in today's day and age with people that are actually training MMA
Yeah.
full. But yeah,
And like you're saying, the days this now MMA has a lot changed. You can't just be good in just one aspect, like the wrestling or very good at striking. You need to have that all-around game just due to the level of the competitors now. Do you really believe that is the case, that you are needing to be that all-round guy instead of just that specialist?
I don't think you have to be like amazing everywhere because there's still guys that like Alex Pereira isn't like I don't think he's got one submission on his record. Do you know what I mean? But he's very much a striking specialist. Um, but I do think you need to be competent in all areas at least and then you can be really, really specialized in one area where you're so much better than everyone else in that area that you can implement your game. But it's all about being able to implement what you can do. Um, my whole take on it is that if I can be like, if you're a better wrestler than me, cool. I'm probably a better striker than you. You know, if you're a better striker than me, I can probably grapple better than you can. If you're better at jiu-jitsu, I'm probably better at wrestling. Do you know what I mean? If I can be better than the next guy I fight every time, then you know what I mean. I only have to beat the next guy. I don't have to beat Islam Makachev just yet. I just have to beat Arijan, and then I have to beat the next guy, and then the next guy, and then the next guy, and then eventually down the road, maybe Islam Makachev is the next guy. You know, but until then, we'll just keep fighting and just keep stacking up the names. You know,
Exactly. After this win, you'll be on a four-fight winning streak. When would you like to return back into the cage?
obviously after this fight, my baby's due, my first
Yeah.
child's due. So I'll be having a bit of time off, you know, bit of paternity leave. Um, Look at maybe September. September seems like a good time. Have a bit of summer off, you know. September seems like a good time to get back. Yeah, that would give me time then to, you know, I'll have had two fights before summer, September, and then maybe another fight before the end of the year, and that'll be another four fights. That's an 8 fight win streak, and then you're looking at you've got to give me a title then, haven't you? Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly. And how would it be like for Ireland to have Will as the doubles champ and then you also holding that title as well?
Well, as I said, like there's not just me and Will anymore now.
Yeah.
You know, you've got Will as what the light heavyweight and heavyweight champion.
Yep.
He could potentially come down to middleweight and take that belt as well. I'd take lightweight. Richie Smullen takes featherweight. Then what? There's only bantamweight, flyweight, and welterweight that aren't held by Irishmen. And I think at that point, it's like you just have to come to Ireland now. Do you know what I mean? You know,
It's
maybe even, you know, to in order to drag them to Ireland, it'd be me fighting for the title. That could be a thing. You know,
it's the Irish takeover.
100%, 100%. We never invaded any or colonized any countries, but we take over MMA promotions. That's for sure.
And how is it being able to see the guys in the UFC like Ian Gary, Shannon Bannon? How is it seeing them being able to go in there and get the victories?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. You know, obviously, like it's a fighting nation is Ireland. You know,
Yeah.
and Conor McGregor has instilled. I'm sure every Irish MMA fighter now in this generation of MMA fighters has been inspired in some way by Conor McGregor, regardless of what he's become or what he started doing after. You know, on the come up, like I said, he was something special. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's inspirational to see the likes of Sean O'Bannon, the likes of Ian Gary do what they're doing. Um, and yeah, I just want to emulate and do my own part as well.
Exactly. And what do you feel like has been your toughest test so far?
What in MMA or just in
Yeah,
life?
just in the MMA.
In MMA, obviously probably the George Staines fight. You know, obviously it was the final of the show. It's a big opportunity. It was for a belt. You know, the Octagon Challenge title. Um, and he's good. Like he's fucking good at MMA. He's good at what he does. Um, got dominated in that fight. That was the only fight I really believe I ever lost. You know, I don't believe that split decision losses are really me losing a fight because someone thought I won the fight. It's
Yeah.
a down to a matter of opinion, then, isn't it? And there's a lot of robberies in MMA as we see, but that was the only fight I've ever had where I really felt like he beat me. You know, he was just better than me that day. So it pushed me along. It made me train harder. It made me fix up the holes. And as we've seen since then, I've been on a tear. and I'm going to continue to go on a tear. And I don't think anyone else in the lightweight division in Octagon can do what George did to me. So I'm going to keep improving. I'm going to keep showing all these other guys what's up.
Exactly, because like you're saying, and with the great thing about the MMA as a sport in general, it doesn't really matter if you do take a defeat or not. It's about learning from that defeat and coming back. You do have these guys in the UFC, like Max Holloway, for example, who does have a lot of losses on his record, but he's still renowned as being one of the top level guys. So long as
Yeah,
you learn from defeats, that's the
yeah,
main thing.
exactly. Exactly. It's very rare you go undefeated in this sport. And it's like you're only ever a win streak away from being in the UFC. Do you know what
Yeah,
I mean? You're only ever a win streak away from fighting for a title. So I'm on a win streak now. Let's keep the win streak going, and it's not how you start, it's how you finish at the end of the day. And I'm a strong finisher.
exactly. Well, make sure you tune in to Octagon 71, where you can see Dennis absolutely take down the Eagle and get that fourth fight in a row. Is there anything you want to add or anything you're wanting to shout out?
Um, yeah, obviously shout out all my sponsors, shout out my team, Manchester Top Team, shout out Octagon for getting me back on the show and giving me fights, which is important. Um, yeah, shout out, shout out you, Scott, for getting me on here for a little interview. And yeah, everyone tune in next Saturday, 17th of May. I will be on the main card. Watch the whole card because there's some good fights on the card, to be fair.
Exactly. Can't say it better yourself. Make sure you tune in for the whole card and you'll be able to see a great night of fights. Thank you very much.
Nice one, lad.